Hi guys, welcome to Bit, Nibble, Byte, where you don't have to learn all of coding at once, you can just take a bit, nibble, or byte. Today I'm going to go over data types. I'm going to use Java examples, but these types are similar in different languages. I'll show you how different languages handle data types, and I'll go over some Java examples. So if that sounds interesting, stay tuned. A variable is a reserved memory location to store values. A programmer might use these if they don't know the actual value of something at the time of writing a program, or to facilitate code reuse, or to improve clarity of the program. Based on the data type of that variable, the operating system allocates the proper amount of memory and decides what could be stored in the reserved location. Different languages handle data types in different ways. Two types are strongly typed and weakly typed languages. In a strongly typed language, variables are bound to a specific data type, where in weakly typed languages, the variables are not. There's also statically typed and dynamically typed languages. In statically typed, each variable in type is known at compile time, where in dynamic, each variable in type is not checked until runtime. These terms aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. In fact, you can plot languages on the diagram you see here, based on if they're strong or weak, or dynamic or static. Since I've been using Java examples in our other videos, I'm going to continue down this path. You would find Java right here. This means that the variables in Java are bound to a specific type that is known at compile time. I'll now go over several types of common Java data type types that are also found in other languages. In Java, you'll typically see two different categories: primitive variables and non-primitive variables. Primitive are more basic, while non-primitive are a bit more advanced. I have videos on some of these, and I'll include them along the way. The first primitive data type I'll show you is called a Boolean. Even though it has a funny name, it's one of the simpler types. It's represented by only one bit. That means it's either 1 or 0, true or false, on or off. If you don't initialize it with a specific type, it'll default to false. Booleans are great for checking conditions, and they may alter your code depending on their validity. The next primitive type is a character. A character is represented in 16 bits. You could show it as the single character you see here, an A in single quotes, or an ASCII, which is a code for representing text in computers. The final primitive types are all of the numeric types. There's integers or floating point numbers. Integers don't have any decimal points. There's a byte, short, int, and long. As the number of bits that represent them increase, the larger numbers they can represent. Floating points are the same with float and double, where a double could represent a larger number with a decimal point. And now for the non-primitive types. An array is a data structure containing like variables or objects. I have a specific video going over this, and I'll include it in the screen now. A string is just an array of characters. You can also think of this as simply a string of text. And finally, we have objects. Java is an object-oriented language. Objects are crucial in code reuse and the logic behind most programs. They are an instance of a class created by the programmer. This example program shows a lot of the data types that I just went over. You can see the primitive data types here. I have a Boolean, is false, that is set to false, a char or a character, which is the letter A, an integer, which is 4, and a double, which is 4.5. I have one example of a non-primitive data type, which is a string. I have my channel name here, Bit, Nibble, Byte. I have other videos on arrays and objects, so I can direct you to them now. I then go to print out all of these values. I'm going to compile and run the program so you can see what's shown. I'll now compile our demo program. No errors were returned, so I'll run the program. All of our data types were returned as expected. The Boolean was false, a character was A, the int was 4, double was 4.5, and the string was bit, nibble, byte. We defined our data types ahead of time, allowing the program to store the correct information into the properly allocated space in memory. And we can now use these values within our program. So I hope today's video was useful in helping you gain a little bit more confidence with Java data types and programming in general. If you have any questions, comment them below. Feel free to change up the program that you saw today and explore with different kinds of data types and how you can integrate them into your own programs. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for future content. Until next time, guys.